Okay, we got some great reset news here.
We need a great reset.
A new world order. A new world order. A new world order.
Build back better. Blah, blah, blah.
Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time.
A new world order.
Klaus speaks. Klaus says we need restructuring. Let's hear the clip.
Good.
Yeah, you know, it's that word really triggers me, but I'll explain why.
Restructuring.
Yeah, in a second here.
Well, reset, we can't say reset
he's overextended his use of the word reset. It's all, tarnished now because
and we have tracked the trend over the years since the Great Reset was deemed a conspiracy theory. They've tried a lot of different words. The Great Reshuffle, the Great, I don't know. There's a bunch of different
it's
ones.
not always great. There's the Build Back Better. There's all kinds of iterations of it, even the New World Order. But here he is talking about restructuring.
Of course, if you look at all the challenges, we can speak about the multi-crisis. Economic, a political, a social, an ecological, an institutional crisis. But actually, what we have to confront is a deep, systemic, and structural restructuring of our world. Mm-hmm. And this will take some time. And the world will look differently after we have gone through this transition process.
Very matter of fact about how we are going through this transition process. We are restructuring. And, this is a little personal, but I'll just, spin it into the whole commentary here. I had some money, crypto, on Celsius, the platform, which did freeze all withdrawals and go into bankruptcy, Chapter 11 bankruptcy. All these crypto companies are going into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is different from Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Chapter 7 is when they take all your assets and they just liquidate and they say, okay, it's over. Chapter 11 is called restructuring. Right. So it's almost like Klaus Schwab is saying, look, we need a systemic, we are systemically bankrupt. We need to do a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. We need a restructuring of the entire thing. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's been in the works for a while. It's not like it's already, the effects of it we are starting to see now only because they've been at this for so many years. And I think they're feeling rushed because so many people are learning about all this and there is a pushback, but also, that can also be part of the psyop of creating a movement against it, which leads me to the Epoch Times, which
yes,
we
need to add the special disclaimer.
We definitely do, because we've, for some reason, we had tried to avoid the Epoch Times as a source of mainstream news reporting because it
mostly for confirmation bias reasons.
Right. It's very leaning towards one side. So, but I was surprised to see that on the Harvard media index, the U.S. media index that we often reference. For those who need to know, or maybe you don't know, we love to examine the funding, the ownership, the background of all these news media organizations, because as important as a message itself is the medium in which the message is delivered and the source financial
of the message
backing. Yeah. Follow the money.
Yeah. What is the funding of these different outlets? We do it for almost every outlet we cover. And I was surprised, Gons, when you told me that Epoch Times is actually listed on the Harvard.
Not only
on the Harvard document.
Not only is it listed, it's number 51, which is quite high. It's top 100. And
that's interesting.
Here's what it says. Unclear funding. Founded in 2000 by John Tang, an Atlanta-based follower of the Chinese spiritual movement Falun Gong. Epoch Times is funded by Falun Gong, a religious group that has been called a doomsday cult.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in there. It's written in the Harvard.
A lot of religious groups have been called doomsday cults. Now this, I was thinking when you mentioned it, my mind went directly to the Moonies, but how do you spell Falun Gong?
Falun, second word, Gong, Gong. And here, there's a little bit more here. The Epoch Times in the U.S. is a pro-Trump nonprofit news outlet owned by members of Falun Gong, a religious group started by a fervently anti-communist Chinese, now American, Li Hongzhi, who is its spiritual leader that, quote, believes in a coming judgment day that will send communists to hell and says Trump is helping accelerate that timeline.
Wow.
This is all in the harvard.edu media list. It's quite the, it goes into just the anti homosexuality and feminism and all that kind of stuff. They're a very
politically engaged religious group. Here's a quick Wikipedia. This is Falun Gong or Falun Dafa, a different name for it, means law wheel practice or Dharma wheel. Is a new religion founded in China in the early 1990s. That is great.
That is pretty recent.
It was founded by Li Hongzhi toward the end of China's Gaigong boom, a period that saw a proliferation of similar practices of meditation, slow-moving energy exercises, and regulated breathing. Falun Gong has its global headquarters in Dragon Springs. Ooh. A 400-acre compound. Hey, they have a compound around Kudebekville in Deer Park, New York. Falun Gong's dance troupe.
They have a dance troupe. That's what we should have. We should get a Canary Cry dance troupe.
We got to get the Canary Cry dance group.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of very... Oh, yeah, it says here right on the Wikipedia, Falun Gong extensions include the Epoch Times.
Yeah. So here's the other thing that's strange on a personal note. I received a physical paper, Epoch Times, on my front door. And I didn't sign up for it.
A meat space paper.
Yeah, like an old fashioned newspaper, with the whole recycled looking paper. And my wife hands it to me and she goes, Did you do that? And I'm like, no, I didn't sign up for it. I don't know how it got to my house, but I guess they're on to me. The Chinese spiritualists are on to me, I guess. Somehow they found out, but
that's interesting. Yeah. So it is basically Chinese New Age spiritualism. It funds and is behind the Epoch Times.
But think about it. It's anti-communist China, right? If you think about this anti-communist China, but kind of a new agey thing, it's almost like it's Q, but it's more open. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's got sort of a taste of Q to it. Doesn't it?
Okay, so given that context, the Epoch Times was the top search result for this topic of, hey, who's reporting on Klaus Schwab talking about restructuring? Epoch Times comes in number one out of all of them. Here's what the article says. I have stuff highlighted
which says two things. Number one, that Epoch Times is covering it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that it seems like there's not a new there's not a mainstream pushback yet. It's like, again, they're a little bit behind on trying to push back against the Great Reset talk.
Right. Okay, so here's the headline from Epoch Times. Klaus Schwab wants to structurally restructure the world despite extensive social tensions. At the B20 meeting in Indonesia, Klaus Schwab, founder of the WEF, put forward the proposal to restructure the world. The B20 is the official G20 dialogue forum with the international business community. During a business restructuring, some costs will be written off and shareholders will suffer, the WEF had said. In the same way, the restructuring of an economy will result in, quote, a reduction of disposable income, which could lead to extensive social tensions, he admitted. Schwab also talked about the fourth industrial revolution, which foresees significant changes to society and industries from rising interconnectivity and automation. During the fourth industrial revolution, advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, gene editing, and so on are expected to blur the boundaries among the biological, physical, and digital worlds. Wow, summarizing a decade's worth of our work there. But you're welcome, Epoch Times. Quote, governments and businesses have to cooperate in order to become a fast fish, because in our world of today, it's not anymore so much about a big fish who eats the small fish, but it is a fast fish who eats the slow fish. I like the analogy, Basil. How do we become a fast fish in this race?
Fast fish. Even if the fast fish is littler than the slow fish.
And get this, Klaus Schwab is kind of waving the checkered flag, because he says the groups that move first to adopt the fourth industrial revolution will automatically win the race. The winners will, quote, take it all. It's almost like, okay, ready, set, go. Here we go. Restructure. Begin.
Yeah. Comply sooner rather than later.
Right. Yep.
If you comply sooner, you'll be a winner. If you wait, you're going to lose your chance.
Now, I'm not going to read the rest other than the sentence here because it goes into the WEF agenda. And it says here, the WEF is a network of major multinational businesses that cooperates with the Chinese Communist Party. And it goes into UN 2030 and all the different things that we've covered over the years. But, and, the Great Reset, et cetera, et cetera. But it's interesting because we know who's behind the Epoch Times. They put that little thing in there about how, the World Economic Forum is bad because they work with the CCP, which, not a whole lot of outlets openly state, but that's kind of their MO. So it's interesting that that's weaved into this whole anti-WEF sentiment. And so I've seen the Epoch Times a lot being, shared around and carried around. It's just something to pay attention to because it does confirm a lot of biases in our niche or side of the thing, so
that's why I've seen a lot of people love the Epoch Times. I think to a degree, I mean, it has a certain amount of credibility for, just how long it's been doing what it's doing. Its size, it certainly has done well by a lot of the narratives that are usually suppressed. However, like always, we are here to actually analyze and deconstruct the news. And so you gotta know who it's coming from, what they support, what their history is, and what their MO might be for reporting a certain topic. So there you go. Just a little background on the Epoch Times. And does make it complicated, makes it a complicated practice to take in info from a variety of different sources. And, a lot of people love the Epoch Times. We get sent tons of Epoch Times stuff. But you can't take it for granted, I guess, is the message to take from that.
Yeah. They're trying to buy your trust. Currency of trust. Okay.
Well, as everybody is.
Yeah, of course. All right. So, there you go. That's, something to keep an eye on. And, it's twofold story there. Of course, the actual mentioning the Klaus Schwab talking, and that's always something of a concern, but there's nothing new really that he said there. It's just kind of the same old stuff, maybe some new terminology, but otherwise
a basic Klaus Schwab presentation.
Right.